Hello, hello, welcome back to Concept Timber, and today we are talking about Emerson, Lake and Palmer's 1973 kind of concept album. I'm cheating this week a little bit. Brain Salad Surgery. Now, this album is not 100% a concept album, but it's mostly a concept album, depending on how well I can swing this. And also, I've listened to this album many, many times. If you notice, I have no notes on me. Nothing hiding over on this chair. Nothing. I'm just going by this album because I've heard it many, many times. I think it's frankly brilliant, and I think it's Emerson, Lake and Palmer's best album. Song number 1, Jerusalem. Now, this is a cover or a rendition, whatever it becomes when a bunch of people have done this song. This is a rendition of a song, or of a hymn that was written back in, I believe, the 1840s in Britain. And then music wasn't put to it until another 100 years later. So, and then 30 years after that, Emerson, Lake and Palmer have come along excuse me, and given their nifty little spin to it. And it's just this epic 2.5-minute story about how Jesus may have theoretically journeyed to the land of Britain. And it's just epic and amazing, and it's the perfect length, 2.5 minutes of excellence. Just, and like everybody's on fire. Keith Emerson, of course, being the keyboard god that he was. Greg Lake's brilliant voice and great bass playing, and of course Carl Palmer just being a god behind the drums. Just everything worked out perfect for this 2 minutes and 40-second opener. Just boom, brilliant, perfect. It's another classic Emerson, Lake and Palmer trope as well of covering a classical piece. Song number 2 is called Toccata. This is the other Emerson, Lake and Palmer trope, an instrumental, or one of the other Emerson, Lake and Palmer tropes. The instrumental, I think this is also based off of a classical piece, but the guy who made the original piece was alive at the time and heard it and approved of it. But the way this is delivered, it's, very organ and synth heavy, 1973 organ and synth heavy, so it's just, it's like the synths are very obvious and the organ is very obvious, but I'm not going to complain about that because that's what makes ELP ELP. It's just brilliant, and there's this great contrast between the analog of the organ and the mechanical or digital of the synth. And it sounds like, a bit of a fight, and it sounds a little bit like early video game music. And yes, indeed, Emerson, Lake and Palmer did inspire many of the early video game scores because they were very big in Japan. But yeah, that's Toccata. It's brilliant. It is 7 minutes of just brilliance. It has sound effects. It has sound effects that were done by drums. They sound like, they were loaded into the synth. No, they were delivered by Carl Palmer on a custom-built drum kit made by the British Steel Company, who mostly did pipes for sewers. I'm not joking. And at one point, it was owned by Ringo Starr, not before Carl Palmer. Again, this was custom-built for Carl Palmer, but Ringo Starr bought it at one point, and now I think it's in either the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Ohio, or it's somewhere in Britain. It might be in the UK Music Hall of Fame. I'm not sure. But that is Toccata. Those sound effects drums did kind of give way to those awful 80s hexagon drums. So, yeah, unfortunately, we do have to blame Carl Palmer for how shit some of the 80s was. But, yeah. Song number 3, Still You Turn Me On. This is the third Emerson, Lake and Palmer trope, the ballad. It's an acoustic-driven ballad, not that it's, synthless. Of course it has synths, and it's got, bongos as well, delivered by Carl Palmer, but this is a Greg Lake-driven song, and it's a love letter to the fans, basically. It's just like, hey, man, like, I'm happy you like our music. It's just like, do you want to be an angel? Do you want to be a star? Do you want to play some magic on my guitar? Do you want to be the poet? Do you want to be the string? You could be anything. You know, it's just some beautiful lyrics. It's not a love song. I know I made it sound like it, but it's not. And it's, I don't know what the fuck's going on. Oh, there's a truck driving on the road. Okay. But it's a brilliant, brilliant song. It is the album's signature ballad, but it's cool. And then song number 4, the sort of the last part that's not super concept-y. Toccata kind of feeds into the concept of the album, at least the second half of the album. But Benny the Bouncer, this is a song about a bouncer who got in a fight with a guy and was killed, and now he works for Jesus as the bouncer at St. Peter's Gate. And that's the song. It's kind of a sillier version of The Sheriff. It does kind of have that silent movie piano thing going. But yeah, it's a good song. I'm happy that it's here. I'd rather it be on the album than not. That doesn't necessarily sound like a compliment, but it is. But here we go. Now we've come for the main event. If you know Emerson, Lake and Palmer, you know them for Carnival 9. Does a sprawling 29-minute epic divided into 3 impressions, with the first impression being split in half because vinyl couldn't handle 29 minutes on one side. So in all honesty, if you are a vinyl purist, this is the one time where the experience might be improved on CD. So, yeah, but Carnival 9, First Impression, Part 1, just starts off just super epic. It tells the story of this world taken over by machines, and now humans are a minority, and they have to fight back against the machines for a chance at survival of life. It's almost like a prototype for Terminator, and it's textured with the organ and synth, and they fight with each other. You know, it's just each one trying to top the other, and it seems like synth's going to top it, but no. But humanity has gotten dwindled down so much that they come to the surviving humans come to the Carnival, the surviving humans that are treated well. This is not the most fleshed out story, but the surviving humans that are treated well come to the Carnival, which has a presenter who I believe is a machine, but he shows off such trinkets and relics of the age of man, such as a bomb inside a car, 7 virgins and a mule, fucking a real blade of grass, Jesus being pulled out of a hat. I'm describing both parts of the first impression, but both parts of the first impression, at least half of first impression part 1 and all of first impression part 2, take place at the Carnival, and it's just the music is epic. The weird thing that happens is there's the same guitar solo twice. I mean, it's not the exact same take of the guitar solo, but it's the same guitar solo. You know what I mean? It's not like it's just affected differently and mastered slightly differently between the two. I'm not complaining about that. It's a little weird. And after hearing Carnival 9 First Impression Part 2 so many times, when I do listen to the full suite, that section of Carnival 9 First Impression Part 1, just that guitar solo, does kind of throw me off a little bit. But yeah, this is, of course, where you get their most iconic song. I've mentioned it already, Carnival 9 First Impression Part 2. This is the Emerson, Lake and Palmer you will hear on the radio the most, aside from Lucky Man and maybe Jerusalem. But apart from that, you're not going to really hear Emerson, Lake and Palmer too much. Maybe Hoedown from time to time, but yeah, that's just how it goes. Carnival 9, Second Impression. It's another long one, and it's, again, purely instrumental, and it has a little bit, I almost see this song as a prelude to a battle, or planning a battle, and, it starts off with almost as a part of Carnival 9 First Impression. It just follows on brilliantly, because it opens up with this epic guitar solo. Oh, something I forgot to mentioned with Carnival 9 First Impression Part 2. Carnival 9 First Impression Part 2 has a little bit of a drum solo in it, and when they would perform this song live, the whole suite live, Carl Palmer would always have an extended drum solo, I believe. It's from Tank, off of their debut album, which I might review at the beginning of part of next year, so stay tuned for that. But he's got he has this beautiful drum solo, and occasionally they would implement Epitaph from Greg Lake's previous band, King Crimson, a little bit. So sometimes they would do that. And if you listen to the excuse me, if you listen to the version of this song on the Welcome Back My Friends live album, the triple live album, it is 34 minutes long, an extra 5 minutes of excellence. But yeah, but Carnival 9 Second Impression is almost planning a battle. After, scurrying home from the carnival, our hero starts planning a battle. And the one rough patch in this album is there is about 3 minutes in the middle of Carnival 9 Second Impression where it is kind of avant-garde-esque. Not necessarily. It's not stupid. It's not Frank Zappa type avant-garde shit or Amagama, for God forbid, type avant-garde shit. But it's a little bit avant-garde, but that's the one rough patch, and it's short, it's brief. When I listened to this, and when I got to that part, when I listened to this today for this review, I went, oh shit, here we go. But no, it's a very brief rough patch, and it's not even that much of a rough patch, but yeah, it's cool, and the song begins to build and build towards the end until it transitions cleanly into Carnival 9 Third Impression, which has this epic man alone, born of stone, will stop the dust of time. It's just beautiful. It's telling the story of, the last of the humans, or perhaps the last human, finally going out of his way to defeat the machines that have taken over our beautiful planet, those bastards. But he goes after the machine, and he's got this blade of compassion kissed by countless kings. It's just epic, and he travels, and he fights machine after machine until finally he hits the big bad, and this epic music, synth and organ fighting each other, representing the fight between man and machine. It's just glorious, beautiful. It's just, holy shit, it's awesome. But yeah, it's just glorious, and finally we get to the end, and the last of the humans, or perhaps the last human, goes, "Rejoice, glory is ours. Our young men have not died in vain. Their graves need no flowers. The tapes have recorded their names." Perhaps these humans haven't completely abandoned technology, but the computer asks, are you perfect? I'm perfect. Are you? But at that moment, our protagonist strikes the final blow, and we hear these synth noises that sound like popping light bulbs or popping circuits, and they accelerate, and the album stops, and the machine is no more. Did our humans survive? We don't know. But what we do know is that the machines were conquered and nature won. Excellent. Fucking jizzworthy. Go buy it. The Carnival 9 suite is worth the price of admission alone. Go buy it. The album cover was designed by H.R. Geiger, who is the guy who, yes, did indeed design the Xenomorph from Alien. And the original painting, the source painting for this album cover, was stolen from an art exhibition in 2006, which, bro, it's a cool fucking image. Just buy the album, man. But, yeah, but beautiful, beautiful album. Thank you all very much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and all that bullshit. If you want to hear me talk about something other than music, I have a podcast with two of my buddies. It's called Dorkies. I will leave a link to the latest episode of that in the description down below. And if you want to hear what I happen to be listening to that day, or a 15-second segment at least, you can follow me on Instagram. I will leave a link to that in the description down below. I post a 15-second segment of a song on my story there every single day. And with that, I would like to remind you to stay weird and keep jamming. See you in the next one. Take care.